Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Monday, March 26th, 10:59 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Sakurajima continues to erupt in a spate of multiple eruptions over multiple days, as well as Swanosima and Shinmoedake. We'll be talking about it. There appears to be global uptick in volcanism worldwide, and there are some scientists now warning about it, and we'll get to that. If you haven't been to Volcano Watch, we'll leave you links down there, and get to this multi-screen view and check out Sakurajima erupting live. And we'll let this run, and hopefully it won't take away our space. Pepper skies with salt to slow global warming. This is nonsense here. Faced with a planet that is on average 1.2 C hotter than it was before the Industrial Revolution, or right after the Dalton minimum. The latest notion proposed at a scientific conference in Texas would involve dusting the atmosphere 11 miles above Earth's surface with a fine layer of table salt. Add a little bit of pepper and a little bit of ketchup, and it sounds delicious. Now, this is just insanity, guys. I don't know if you've heard, but according to the UAH satellite-based temperature of the global lower atmosphere, the last 4 months, global temperature has dropped 0.420 degrees C. It's almost a half a degree C. Here to here. And the trend from 2016 to present is down. And we'll get to that a little later. And we're going to be talking about solar cycles shortly. We have a lot to cover. I'm going to quickly run through this. Hopefully this doesn't freeze up. I've been having problems. I apologize. 2 missing, dozens rescued after flash floods hit California. They're totally fluxed here. We're talking 5 inches in just a day. Police said 2 persons, 1 male, 1 female, went missing in 2 separate incidents after a 3-day storm dumped heavy rain in parts. Look at this guy on top of the truck here, the car. In a rescue in Folsom, a man stood on a car as rescue crews helped him to safety, while San Luis Obispo County, Central California rescuers reported pulling 10 people from the Salinas River on Thursday. Heads up. This is just the beginning. Do not drive into fast-moving water unless you want to die. 2018 hurricane prediction is in the strongest cycle in 70 years. With the waning magnetosphere and space weather is going to be affecting Earth quite considerably because of that. It does not look good. So if you're in hurricane-prone areas, start preparing now. I'll leave you links to this article, and you can read for yourself that you should have moved inland. I mean, I love fishing, and I love the beach, too. Parts of Grand Forks, record 9 inches of snow. They're not talking about this on the mainstream. You're not hearing about snow. You're hearing about peppering the atmosphere with salt. The winter storm that grabbed all the attention last week may have wimped out Friday, but Sunday's snowfall made up for it in at least some parts of the region. Meteorologist Bill Barrett said Monday the narrow band of heavy snow stretched out 25 miles east and west of Grand Forks as it moved in a line from the valley of Roseau. More than 6 inches of snow is recorded at the National Weather Service office in Grand Forks Sunday, but other parts of the town reported 9. And that is a record. And he is happy. I love happy dogs. We got a happy dog over here. Let's go to the Weather Ready Nation map. We have flash flood warnings out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states and dozens, if not hundreds of counties. And that's because up to 5 inches of rain is predicted to fall. Real quick, severe thunderstorms and heavy rain across south and central U.S. A slow-moving weather system will bring several days of severe weather and heavy rain from the southern plains to Tennessee Heaviest rains are expected Wednesday across portions of Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi, wherever 5 inches of rain is possible. Rains may be exacerbated by ongoing flooding. Severe storms may produce very large hail, as predicted, and as we've been seeing, as well as damaging winds and isolated tornadoes. We've got winter storm watches throughout the Continental Divide here, including northern New Mexico and throughout the Cascades. The ag weather outlook is volatile with rain and snow, and I'm going to show it to you right now here. Here's the week 1 temperature departure. It looks very cold for the northern half of the U.S. Very cold. 8 to 15 degrees off up in this portion, 15 to 20 off, but below average in the entire northern region. Only above average by 1 to 3 degrees in the south. Precipitation potential, you're going to be drenched in the Mississippi Valley. This is going to be severe weather and thunderstorms throughout this entire green oval for the next week. And confidence is high. Let's move on to the second week of April here. This brings us out to the 8th of April. And the Arctic low is going to drop in, and it is going to be cold across the entire 75% of the U.S. Extremely below average. In the crop growing regions, specifically. So we might have some winter storm development happening here and another nor'easter on April 8th. So we'll be watching that. The pattern does not look good. And heavy snow and 150% precipitation is predicted for the coast. So that could mean a nor'easter develops and we have heavy snow April 8th. Orange snow carpets parts of Eastern Europe. We predicted this last night. There it is. Nibiru is nowhere to be found, folks. This is Sahara dust, oxidized iron-rich sand blowing off of the Sahara, turning things orange. Parts of Eastern Europe, especially mountainous regions in the Ukraine, Russia, Moldova, Bulgaria, Romania, transform into Mars-like landscapes on the 23rd through the 25th as the sand dust storm, which is continuing as we speak, from North Africa causes the snow to turn orange. I'll leave you links to this Watchers article. It's pretty cool. Extreme cold weather can be linked to the solar cycle. Wow. Whew. These people are smart. Here you are. We're going to be stuck here for about until 2021 at the bottom. So we have a long time to experience this solar minimum, folks. And if we're going to use the past to decipher the future, it's not going to look very good. We can come over to the data set here first. The mainstream is claiming that the last 20 years have been 17 of 18 of the last 20 years have been the warmest ever recorded. It's a lie. There's almost no temperature change since 1980. In fact, in 2007 through 9 here, it was just as cold. It was warmer in the mid-90s, the early 90s, and the late 80s, based on the unadulterated temperature data that you're looking at. Now, if we look at this dip down here, 2007, 8 in the middle, and 9 over here, this corresponds exactly with the solar minimum of cycle 23. This was the minimum. And here we are coming down the cliff of 24 into the minimum, which means we're going to fall quickly below this point in the next several months and stay there for years. So it's anyone's guess where we're going, but we're definitely coming down here in the graph. And just in the last few months, we're falling off a cliff, which is typical here. It's just a little steeper than most cliffs, if you notice. This is the last solar minimum. We're going to be much lower than that, and each minimum below that is lower as we descend into this grand solar minimum. I'll leave you links to this article. We have a lot to cover. There's a lot of volcanic news popping up. We have a 6.6 here in Papua New Guinea. There is no tsunami threat. We have space weather is still keeping the KP above 3 or at that range, but it's going to be dropping down soon, and we'll see an uptick in seismic activity shortly. Worldwide volcano update: Dukono, Sakurajima. We just looked at it. Sabancaya and Aoba, low-level eruption coming off. And let's get to the news. First pyroclastic flow recorded at Shinmoedake. We covered it 48 hours ago on this channel before anyone else. You saw the footage. If you haven't, go back and check it out. I'll leave you links to this article. The multi-view is showing Sakurajima erupting currently, and Popo has been quite active recently. We have a geyser here in Yellowstone. Come check it out. There'll be a link. Now let's get to the news. Vanuatu volcano eruption alert. Buildings collapse under the weight of volcanic ash. Authorities have increased the volcanic alert amid fears residents will be evacuated after the Lombenden volcano erupted. The Lombenden volcano on the island of Ambae is regarded as one of the most dangerous in the world, and increased activity has been recorded at the Manoro Voie crater, which is the island of Ambae. The level of danger was raised to 3 on a scale of 0 to 5 last week following an increased activity at the Manoro Voie crater. Communities in the northwestern and southern parts of the island have been worst affected, with reports of buildings and trees collapsing under the weight of the ash. As the uptick increases, you can read about it here. There's more. Indonesian volcano Mount Ijen still spewing toxic gas after 30 tourists were injured, as well as locals. And that's ongoing. A volcano in India, the only active volcano in South Asia, has been quietly erupting for 13 years, according to scientists recently revealing that a major eruption danger is imminent, which is true. Scientists said that Barren Island volcano of the Andaman Islands has been erupting since 2005, and a major eruption is imminent, which is true. This is a grand solar minimum erupting volcano. I'll leave you links to all of the information so you can do your homework on the Barren Islands. This will not cause the global cooling. It only erupts historically at VEI2, so this is going to cause minor perturbations and air traffic problems. It has historically erupted dozens of times at VEI2, and there's a picture of one of the puffs. If you come over here and just click on eruptive history from the Smithsonian here, you can come check out the recent activity and the historical eruption data, which we can see very active during the Dalton minimum. 87, 1789, 1795, 1803, right around the time the New Madrid faulted, 7 years prior, 8 years prior, 1832, headed into in 1852, all VEI2. So this is not a global cooling volcano. It will be erupting Barren Island shortly, and it will be causing local problems. Now let's talk about the Vesuvius eruption warning. Europe's super volcano is threatening and is boiling. Now, news first broke from this, the Campi Flegrei eruption risk, hot zone, feeding one of the world's most dangerous supervolcanoes. And this started hitting the news in September of 2017. I'll leave you links to the Newsweek article, and it is true that this is going to erupt. It's called the Faleglian Fields in Italy here, the Faleglian Fields, the Campi Flegrei caldera. There's multiple calderas here, and it's very violently erupting. The first Phlegraean period you can read about is up to 37,000 years ago. This is affected by ice ages and magnetic reversals and cosmic ray flux, and it causes rapid cooling of the planet. The potential for eruption in this is VEI7, so we're looking at as big as Tambora or bigger coming from this Falegrei when it does erupt, and it'll probably happen in our lifetimes. And you can read about the third Phlegraean period, which is the modern period up to 500 years ago, which has had minor eruptive history. But this volcano has blown in big ways. Here's a picture of a fumarole from the 1780s. Look at how dark it looks. That's the Dalton minimum. It's becoming active back then. Here's a relief map of the large calderic activity. These are large caldera craters. And here in the ocean as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 or 20 major eruptions, VEI 4 to VEI 8, have come off of this baby in about 40,000 years. And it's been boiling and building. So, if you're in that area, oh my goodness. When that goes, it's a wrap. 11,000 years ago, our ancestors survived abrupt climate change as the planet cooled and volcanoes erupted. They built structures. You've been lied to. But 11,000 years ago, our ancestors stayed put when the temperature dropped dramatically up to 4 to 5 degrees C during the Younger Dryas event. They didn't move around. You can read about the history of our ancestors in Europe, and they fed on red deer, which are no longer alive, that I'm aware of. And that kept them alive through the major climate change. So you can read about that right there. Let's talk about some solutions real quick. We got a huge donation from one of our supporters in Bitcoin. It amounts to about $500. And I need a power source that is not a solar panel. And we need to start sourcing additional types of alternative energy. And it's very windy here, especially throughout the spring months. Very high winds. So I looked into some research on wind turbines, and this is the best I can come up with. This is a 700 watt unit that potentially could last for decades. And they even make some alternators in these systems where the fans attach that can last indefinitely. And this is one of those more impressive models. 100% positive feedback from Missouri Wind here. The Missouri Confederate is the unit I'm going to buy right here. It generates 700 watts of power or more at peak, averaging 500 watts at just 8 to 12 mile per hour wind. So it also comes with an incredibly bomb-proof converter here. So I'll leave you links to what this comes with. It is bombastic. It is the top of the industry. It's being created by an actual person in Missouri, and it's being made by a prepper, which is why this is bombastic and unlike anything available coming out of China. So I'm going to be hooking up with one of these. I'm going to add some solar panels and a small battery bank, and this is going to run all of the extracurricular activities in our sawmill and our sprouting geothermal greenhouse that we're showing you pictures for. So come check this out if you're interested in wind turbines. This is definitely the best deal, the best price, the best quality product that will last your entire lifetime. So you can look into it. I did. And this is a heads up. Before we go, California introduces a handy earthquake map. Hey, Californians, our state has finally made it easy to look up the risk of dying in an earthquake with a fun interactive map. Man, this has got to stop. It's disgusting. I'll leave you links to the disgusting article. And if you live in that area, that's on you. Hope you got something out of the video. Leah has decided to join us for our final discussion with Anita Bailey, PhD, on our radio program Wednesday. So we're going to have an awesome three-way discussion, me, Leah, Anita, to talk about the synopsis of preparedness and the mindset and the logistics, the full package. So we're going to be discussing how fear is being infiltrated in the media to keep you from preparing, and disinformation campaigns are keeping the sheep stuck with the global warming idea while the rest of us prep, because we've been watching really excellent scientific sources giving us good knowledge. And I'm really interested to hear what Leah has to say, as well as Anita, as we finish up our month. And then in April, we're going to be talking to Tony Rango about the truth about the chemtrail conspiracy, about geoengineering in general. We're going to have special guests on, people that know about geoengineering patents, what's really going on, and what also is being misidentified as chemtrails because of the increased cosmic ray flux. We're going to learn about the real science and stop the fear mongering. And that's a heads up. Be safe.